be saved.
What's going on, everyone? I'm Hawk, and we have some serious problems. Things are a lot worse than I think we all believed, and given what just happened last night with the Dallas Cowboys, I'm just going to get straight into it. I'm not even going to talk about subscribing and liking. You can do that, but in the meantime, we definitely need to talk about what's wrong with this team. We have some serious issues, and the issues that we have with this team is cohesion. I understand you're looking to pick up the pieces, you're looking for answers, you're going all scrounging the internet, you're going on ESPN, and you're listening to sports talk radio, and you're listening to podcasts and all of that. Listen, I understand all of that, but the big issue, you can listen to whatever you want to, but I'm gonna take the guesswork out of it, okay? So that you can understand exactly what's wrong with this team. Don't listen to the offensive line that talk about Carson Wentz and effort and tweets and all of that. The problem with this team is cohesion. The fact that this team cannot put together the run game and the passing game cohesively, seamlessly, tie it in together. With Carson Wentz at quarterback is a major problem. The fact that when you go to bring in Miles Sanders, defenses are able to go pass heavy, and when you bring in Jordan Howard, they're able to go run heavy, load up against the run. That is a problem. Carson Wentz can't go move the pocket left. He can't move the pocket right, then go tempo, and then get him to start the run blitz because they're getting gashed with the run, and then throw a quick screen. He can't do any of that. He can't even stretch the field. Howie Roseman, I'm going to just say it. Howie Roseman, I understood what you were trying to do, what he was trying to do when he drafted Miles Sanders. I understood that. But the problem is he missed. We missed on Miles Sanders. This guy, I understand they call him Booby Miles. They're going to start calling him Boo Boo Miles. This dude, I get it. And I feel bad because Howie and Doug, they knew what they were doing because they tried to appoint him as the starter from the beginning of the year. And people were saying, oh, well, he's not ready. Why do they have him in the game? Because they understood. They understood that they needed that cohesion and they needed to be able to not have defenses to be able to load up against this team. We lost to the Dallas Cowboys last night. Dallas's defense isn't that good. You want to know why you felt the way you did watching that game where it looked like they couldn't figure out anything? They couldn't get nothing on that Cowboys defense? Because when they brought out Jordan Howard, they loaded up against the run. When they brought out Miles Sanders, they backed off into the pass. Doug said it to you. You don't have to we taking the guesswork out of it. Doug said it. Doug said, they asked Doug, why did you run it on 3rd and 4? Doug said, because they got the look. And he clearly said, Miles Sanders just missed the hole. See, this is another thing that really grinds my gears is Donovan McNabb. See, Donovan, I got love for Five. I got love for him. But the fact that Donovan, what Andy at least knew, Andy went out and he got Brian Westbrook. So Howie's going to need to make a trade for Melvin Gordon. See, Brian Westbrook was so good. He was so dynamic, okay? He saved Donovan's ass so much it wasn't funny, okay? Those worm balls, as they called it, Donovan throwing that lifeless cinder block. Okay, yeah, but the one thing that the things that Donovan did have on that offense, he had, people made jokes about him. Todd Stinkston, the Stinky Pink. Todd Pinkston at least was able to take the top off of a defense. If you lined up next to Todd Pinkston to beat you deep. How many times did we watch Todd Pinkston, though he dropped a lot of them, you could stretch the ball to Pinkston. James Thrash, they call him James Trash. James Thrash could run away from you. And then Brian Westbrook was so dynamic that Brian Westbrook would pour it on and pour it on. And he was so good that at certain times in the game, he knew when you had him. He'd be like, all right. I'm going to just go down right here. I'm not going to let you touch me, but I'm going to get you next time. And then he'd come right back and he'll gash the crap out you. He'll gash the crap out the defenses. That's what Donovan has. And Carson, it's a shame because Carson does not have this with this team. And understand how we tried to address it. He reached because nobody had Miles Sanders going that high. But how we tried to fix it. You know, he tried to grab like Alvin Kamara type. So Howie is going to have to make a trade in order to make this thing work. If Howie doesn't count his losses or cut his losses and say, listen, Miles Sanders is not working, If he wants to wait for Miles Sanders or for Deshaun Jackson to hinge everything on Deshaun Jackson's health, then this season is lost. But if he knows better, he'll do what the right thing is and go out and make a trade for a guy like a Melvin Gordon. You missed on Jadeveon Clowney. You missed on Jalen Ramsey. Okay, you missed in the draft. But the advantage that you have is that you made it. You hit on Carson Wentz, and when you have a young franchise quarterback who's 23, 24 years old, and you miss in the draft, you could still go back. And you have the luxury of a few times you can't continue to do it, of plucking players from other teams who might be unhappy, who might want their money, who is, say, 24, 25 years old. You can grab them and then put them next to Carson, and they can age together. But the problem with that is that you only get a certain amount of time to do that, because you still have to take care of the guys on your roster who have been with you, and because you want to make sure that you keep that trust within your locker, okay, within your locker room. All right, now let's talk about how big of a deal this is with Miles Sanders, this missing on Miles Sanders. It is a death pill. Flat out, it's a death pill. And it needs to be addressed because, one, you can't even play a certain brand of football. You can't play disciplined football. This is a huge problem. And then let's just say, talk about the discipline. This team, the tweets, people talk about Carson, this is bad. I understand you wanted Jalen Ramsey, but the best defense a lot of times is a good offense. This defense has always stunk. For the most part, they gave up over 500 yards in a career day to Tom Brady in the Super Bowl. So the best thing you can do is get Carson Wentz his weapons. I called into the radio station and said, get Carson Wentz a weapon. Go get Melvin Gordon. I wasn't just throwing out a name. I'm not some town crier to sit there and say, oh, make a trade when things go wrong. I don't do that. It's for a reason. This team needs continuity. This team is falling apart. The locker room is in shambles. The discipline is in shambles, even on the field. For instance, you have Dallas Goedert, who's a big tight end. Fundamentals of running with the football is, one, do not allow the defender to get up underneath you. And Dallas Goedert is a big guy. That is the first step. Do not let a defender get underneath you. Get low, okay? The second is, if you go up against two defenders, pick one of them. Don't try to split them. But Dallas, what he did was he tried to split him and he let the defenders get up underneath him. That is just straight goofy. You out here acting goofy, man. You pick one defender and then you get low and you go to the ground and be prepared, because the other guy going to try to rip the football out. But Dallas Goedert didn't do that. I don't know who taught this guy how to, I'm not saying I do have love for Dallas. Let me say that. I got love for Goddard. But for next time, Dallas, he just needs to go down. You can't win that. You're not Gronkowski or somebody like, you'll get hurt like that. That's why when he got up off the ground, he was all shaking up, thinking the world was coming to an end because it was spinning. Don't do that. Another discipline problem that this team has, Miles Sanders. In the end zone. Dude, you are not at Penn State. You need to down that ball and take it out at the 25 or just touch back. You can't do that, man. You're not playing against Ohio State. That's not Mississippi State. And it's not the Georgia Bulldogs or Michigan or anybody else. That was the Dallas Cowboys from Irving, Texas. Okay? This team has so many problems. They all take a back seat to a franchise quarterback. If Carson is going to take the brunt of the blame, then we need to make sure, Howie needs to make sure that he gets Carson what he needs so that Carson can steady the ship. Because right now, this team is in dire straits. It's in a bad place. And the only way to fix this is to go out and get a player like a Melvin Gordon who, because you're not crazy, you have two running backs who are great at one thing and terrible at the other. So in my own humble opinion, knowing football the way that I believe I do and I think I do, that's the major problem with this team, man. But that's all I have. I don't want to spend too much time on this because I want to start to focus on Buffalo. And my name is Hawk. Of course, like I said, hit that subscribe button. Make sure you hit the like button. If you hit the dislike button, leave a comment, and maybe we can have some dialogue and I can further explain what I'm talking about. But until the next time, I see you all at the game.